Greetings, podcast lovers.
You're listening to a download from the outdoorstation.co.uk. Number 500.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
Well, you didn't expect anything less from me, did you? Yes, welcome to the 500th podcast on the outdoorstation.co.uk. I'm your host, as I've always been, Bob Cartwright, and I've been producing podcasts here dedicated to the self-powered outdoors user since October 2005. Yes, 14 years and over 14 million downloads. And this podcast is a celebration, a little music extravaganza, if you like, to make number 500 that little bit different. Firstly, I wanted to thank you all, old and new listeners, for sticking with me through the peaks and troughs that have gone up to make up those last 14 years. Some years I've managed one a week, and others, well, I've slipped once or twice. Sometimes I'm full of creative energy, and others, not so much. Continually generating audio and video content can sometimes be exhausting, and I really admire these social media heroes with massive 32,000 followings who seem to generate acres of images and content and still hold down a normal job and social life. I know I'm not the best at social media engagement. I'm probably the wrong generation in some respects. Not so much a digital native, more a silver surfer, I guess. But it's great to engage with those who do drop me a line. You will have heard on recent podcasts one or two of my newsletter promos, and many folk have been engaging there. A bit later on, I'll mention some of the changes that are going to be taking place, and the newsletter forms a vital part of it. So let's take a moment to welcome those who have joined it and left a comment or two. In no particular order, John Ritchie, Pete Watts, Alex Smith, Karen Robinson from Australia, who enjoys listening to the podcast and encouraging her to get out more, Mark James, another one who loves listening to reports out and about on the hill, Andrew Saunders, Scott Ray, Patrick Fall from Ireland, Steve Everson, of course, from Nearly Wild, who I've recently spoken to, Andy Matthews, Heather Chaplin, a recent convert to camping, Justin Telford, Rick Scott, Ian Bezick, Edward Dixon, Paul Ray, Michael Stevenson, Nick Gilpin, Lucy Gloss, Henrik Pedersen from Denmark, and finally Jim Newton. So welcome one and all to this happy little family. And just to reassure you, I won't be bombarding you with emails, but I will be in touch. So let's do just a quick mini recap. Who have I actually spoken to in these last 14 years? Are you ready for this? Well, here we go. Hikers, backpackers, lightweight backpackers, Land's End to John O'Groats, cyclists, unicyclists, paddlers, bushcrafters, Olympians, adventure racers, triathletes, swimmers, fell runners, barefoot runners, authors, yogis, photographers, artists, Antarctic explorers, cottage manufacturers both in UK and abroad, spoon carvers, dowsers, fungi foragers, outdoor bloggers. Then of course there's product designers, brand interviews, endless trade shows, photographic shows, and would you believe it, even even a politician. Not forgetting all the audio diaries from the bivvy trips, the long-distance hikes, and the many other outdoor people we met along the way, hikers and accommodation and attractions. That is some list. And just to remind you, the list is still available, it's still free over on the library or wherever you get your podcasts from. Right, after all that, time for another brew of tea and a jolly little outdoor music piece while the kettle boils.
Let that clip roll.
You can't cage us. You can't cage us. No. Get me out of here. You can't cage us like an animal. You can't cage us like an animal. Yo, you better back down or break through these walls. You better move like my name was Biggie Smalls. I'm like the god of Grease running around, holding it down, ready to smite your town and rage. I kill him every single time I'm off the leash. This dog bites even the hand that feeds. Beyond the streets, we get it on the beach, and then we take it down to the Isle of Creek. Cause I celebrate and lift my hands and revelate the sacred land. Cause I wanna break free, it's in my human nature. I'm gonna fight it cause I'm naughty by nature. And it's not cause I hate you, and I wanna debate you, but I wanna detain you, take you straight to Albania. Yeah, I'm gonna rage. You better watch it cause I'm breaking out this cage. Get me out of here. You can't cage us. You can't cage us. No. Get me out of here. You can't cage us like an animal. You can't cage us like an animal.
Propped on the block where the pigs eat slop, straight off the floor of the office at the top, like they're walking a dog with the leash on, like a reverend getting his preach on. Wrapped around my neck, it's like a high-tech way to sign a blank check, waiting for a subject. Never ceases to amaze us that all we left with is peanuts. Half of the time you defy, it's a sci-fi time when you fight for your right. So with all your might, we're breaking out of these chains because we're so out of here. No, nothing can hold us down. Stop locking us up or walking down the street and maybe smoking a split. It's just beyond belief, but the executive chiefs get away with the beef. It's time to stop repeating this broken motif.
Get me out of here. Get me out. You can't cage us. You can't cage us. No. Get me out of here. Get me out. You can't cage us like an animal. You can't. No. You can't cage. No, you can't cage.
No.
You can't cage.
No.
You can't cage. You can't cage. No, you can't cage.
No.
You can't cage.
No.
No, you can't cage us.
Can't stop me. I'm an animal.
Get me out of here. Absolutely. Okay, well, I've looked back at the last 14 years and just some of the content that we've covered. And that's not just me, of course. I've had contributions from my wife Rose, from daughter Beth, Andy Howell, Shirley Worrell, David Linton, Simon Willis, and even Lee Wells and Tony Bow may have appeared once or twice. So thanks, everyone, for your contribution. The audience grew steadily when I first started, up till about 2010. I noticed when blogs and forums started to get replaced by Facebook, social media, YouTube and so on. And although I've tried to produce more YouTube and have about just under 10,000 subscribers, it's nothing compared to some recent content creators who seem to reach an audience of 30,000 plus. It's incredible. As social media penetrated our lives and distracted us more and more from whatever it is we should have been doing, it's been interesting to watch the podcast reach dip and then start climbing again in the last few years. I think this may be due to the numerous new ways it has now become easier to listen, such as Alexa, Spotify, smart TVs, various apps on your phone and so on, making it less complicated than ever before and almost like switching on a radio. To be honest, I have felt like packing it in more than once. I thought about getting to 500 and then doing a big show like this and saying my goodbyes. For the last couple of years, I've been working from your average small garden shed, which has been roasting hot during the summer and freezing during the winter nights. And during those cold, wet winter nights traipsing out to the shed, all the fun soon gets drained out of it. However, as recent listeners will know, for the last 12 months, I've been self-building a new garden office and studio out of as much reclaimed and second-hand material as I can find. Doors, windows, wood, etc. Each week it moves forward, but as my budget is squeaky tight, I can't pay somebody to finish it for me. However, I'm still hoping to be in by Christmas, as it is very cold once again in the shed today. Once I'm in, then things will change. I can unpack all my studio, which has been locked up in a container for the last 3 years, get a decent broadband installed and start the next stage in earnest. And what, I hear you say, will that be? Well, more after a little musical interlude.
Shine, see that light coming through the window pane. No more rain, nope, nope. This is the summer of love. You and me set free, gonna have fun. Here it comes. It's another sunny day. Hey, take a look, it's amazing. Let's get moving, what you say? Hey, time isn't wasting. Sun, feel my delight. Rise and shine, see that light coming through the window pane. No more rain, nope, nope. This is the summer of love. You and me set free, gonna have fun. Here it comes. It's another sunny day. Hey, take a look, it's amazing. Let's get moving, what you say? Hey, time isn't wasting. It's another sunny day. Hey, take a look, it's amazing. It's another sunny day. I'm alive under skies, a bird that took flight under the sun. Feel my delight.
Sunny days are coming. Oh, I certainly hope so soon. I think we can all agree that the traditional business model is now dead. This year alone, we've seen stores such as Cotswolds, Snow and Rock, Jack Wills, and small outdoor retailers like Likey's and Brecon close or drastically change the number of stores in one way or another. The recent reasons cited by Mothercare is the same for any industry, the outdoors included. Products that you used to only get from a specialist, you can now get cheaper and possibly copies of anywhere online. We as consumers are spending our money outside the UK economy, and therefore the financial cycle naturally is unsustainable. I noticed yesterday, actually, Smartwool came up in my newsfeed as they've now opened an online store and they've joined many others in the process. I predicted brands and importers would start to sell direct way back in 2010 when the recession started to bite. But now they're not being subtle about it. They're all bypassing and competing with their traditional retailer network. And naturally, there's going to be casualties. Sadly, with more to come, both big and small. To name but a few, Smartwool, Montaigne, Rab, Trekmates, Gregory, North Face, Terra Nova, and many more are now trying to compete with those cheap imports and copies on Amazon, eBay and AliExpress. All of which means that the days of calling into a shop or even using a good old-fashioned telephone to get advice or comparisons from experts has also gone along with the shops. So where do you get your advice from now, I wonder? And can you rely on the advice being solid, reliable and safe? Once the studio is complete and I'm finally connected, I'll be creating loads of different videos and podcast shows. A real mix of product news from brands around the world and interviews to continue on the solid base of the 500 podcasts and 100 videos I've already created. Social media is changing and the outdoor station needs to change too. I'll be creating relevant content for people to get that information or comparisons used to get from your local retailer. I'll also be looking for regular contributors or testers perhaps to join in and add some real-world experience into the mix. So, male or female, age immaterial, located anywhere in the world with any specialist niche interest, do get in touch if you would like to be considered as a contributor next year. As I say, things are changing and it's only natural that we should change with it and kick off 2020 at the cutting edge of the outdoors world. So, faithful listeners, all that leaves me to say is thank you so much for being one of the 14 million audience we've achieved in these last 14 years. I know I've had my ups and downs and missed weekly podcasts when I just couldn't fit it in or ran out of steam. But I'm confident 2020 will be awesome. As always, just a quick reminder to please join our newsletter if you haven't already. Comment over on the outdoorstation.co.uk podcast page for this podcast or drop me a line on Facebook, Instagram or Twitter. I do hope you've enjoyed this show and the little mini musical celebration we've added to it. Thank you so much for being part of my journey so far. And thanks for sharing the message and telling others about the podcast. All that leaves me now to say is, of course, here's to the next 500. Yay. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. To hear or see more from our extensive free library, please visit theoutdoorstation.co.uk.